What's up, everybody? Ron Placone here, reporting for Status Coup. Now, this is a nice story. This is kind of a feel-good one. So, a little while ago on the show, Tina, Desiree Berg, and myself, we interviewed Gus Yellowhair, who is the men's Lifeways coordinator for the Oglala Sioux tribe on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. Now, if you didn't catch that interview, I highly recommend you check it out. We spoke to him about what has been going on out in South Dakota. They've had very, very heavy storms out there, and they have had a shortage of supplies, and they have had to try to get supplies to people. In some cases, they ran out of propane and things like that. We kind of really got into the nitty gritty of everything that was going on out there. And it's just yet another example of how Native Americans and reservations have just been so grossly mistreated by the United States government for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. For forever, really. What makes this a feel good story is a friend of mine reached out to me, my friend Zach, and he said, "Hey, Ron, I saw that interview and I really liked it. I thought you all did a great job. And I made a donation to the tribe and stuff like that." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much." And he turned me on to this story that I did not know about. But this combines a couple things near and dear to my heart. It combines activism and giving back and music and skateboards, which, full disclaimer, I have not been on a skateboard in well over 20 years, but I did used to skateboard in my youth. I was never all that good, but a local skate park probably would have kept me out of some trouble if I'm thinking about it. But where I grew up, we didn't have such a thing. But here's the deal. Pearl Jam's Jeff Emmett, I believe he is the bass player for Pearl Jam, talks to Real Sports Mary Carrillo on building remote Montana skate parks to battle suicide rates. Now, Jeff Emmett of Pearl Jam is from Montana. So here's what he's been doing. Emmett from Havre, Montana, has built 25 skate parks across his home state. The usual cost for a park is around $500,000, but there are no fees for anyone to use them. And he's built several of these parks in Native American reservations, which have had particularly high suicide rates and particularly low infrastructure investments. Hey, here's what he tells Carrillo, who interviewed him for this website, awfulannouncing.com. The goal is to have more world-class skate parks per capita here than anywhere. That's the goal. I grew up here. I'm trying to bring that thing I've witnessed in my travels back to these kind of places. So he's trying to give something back here, and he's trying to build some skate parks, and he's trying to do something positive for his community, and in particular in rural areas and Native American reservations. Um, and I think this is a really, really cool thing that he's doing. And when you see stuff like this, it just kind of gives you a little bit of hope that okay, these very successful people are trying to give a little bit back, and they're also using their interest. I'd imagine that skateboarding is something he either did at one point in his life or maybe still does. Some people that they can skateboard their entire lives. I couldn't imagine doing it right now, and I'm pretty sure I'm younger than he is, but but I'll power to him if he's still doing it. But you know, I think this is a really cool thing. Uh, Pearl Jam is not. I'm not a huge Pearl Jam fan as a listener. I know a lot of people love it. It's not my cup of tea. Although I will say, Alive is a total freaking banger. I mean, you can't. How can you listen to that intro guitar riff and not be into it? Bow, 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 now. Like that's amazing. Such a cool opening to a song. And again, that track is a banger through and through. You hear that intro, you're not switching the station. At least I'm not. And again, I'm not the biggest Pearl Jam fan in the world, but dude, that song through and through. Now part of this is a bit personal for me. In 2013, I was in a pretty bad car accident. Full disclaimer, I survived, but that was the first song I heard after it happened. After it happened, I was like I wasn't in my car. I was in I was in I think I forget if I if the insurance company gave me a rental car or if somebody was driving me. I mean, it was a pretty It was a pretty intense experience, so I don't really remember all of it. But anyway, I was in the car after the accident had happened, not my car because it was totaled, but I was in a different car and Alive from Pearl Jam came on. And even though that song is not about surviving a car accident, it's not about anything like that. It's actually about when Eddie Vedder found out that I believe his father, the person he thought was his father, wasn't his father. It was his stepfather, and his real father, um, is not alive. And it was like him trying to make sense of all that. And then I think it's kind of about child abuse too. Anyway, that's not what the song Alive is about, is my point. But still, hearing that chorus, I'm still alive, after my life flashed before my eyes a little bit in a pretty bad car accident, was pretty kind of like, yeah, crank that up, crank that up. So they've built over, I believe, 25 parks at this point. And here's a little update on this story. Let's go to the other article here from the Everett Post, which Everett is a neighborhood near Seattle, which I believe Pearl Jam, at least most of the members still live in Seattle. I'm pretty sure Eddie Vedder does, or at least he did recently. And I think most of the band lives in Seattle. I think most of the band was a Seattle band, except for Eddie Vedder. Eddie Vedder was living in San Diego, and then he got some demo tapes and decided to move up to Seattle to join the band. And you guys are probably thinking, Rod, for a guy who's not much of a Pearl Jam fan, you seem to know a lot about their band, which, yeah, I randomly know a lot of random facts about a lot of 90s bands because I'm a huge Nirvana fan. And as my short term memory continues to decline, as it happens to all of us as we get older, especially if we enjoy cannabis, I'm glad that I have useless music information and little else. I'm glad. But by the time my ride is up, folks, the last thing I will utter is a random fact about John Lennon and Paul McCartney. I'll be like, did you know that Let It Be, when he says Mother Mary, he's not talking about the Virgin Mary. He's talking about his mom. Did you know that? And then I'll just die. It'll just be like, thanks for that random Beatles fact, Ron. You lived it well. Anyway, this article from the Everett Post here. Pearl Jam's Jeff Emmett teams up with Blink 182 and the Pixies to benefit skate park initiative. So this is growing. Pearl Jam bassist Jeff Emmett has teamed up with Blink 182 and the Pixies to support his Montana Pool Service organization, which builds skate parks across his home state. This is a funny little thing here. Both the All the Small Things outfit and the Where Is My Mind rockers, I'm sure most of you already know this, but if you don't, All the Small Things, big Blink 182 hit. Where Is My Mind, big Pixies hit. Rockers have contributed signature skateboard decks, which will help funding the creation of 2 more parks to be built in 2023. Since 2000, I misspoke. It's been over 30, not just 25. So since 2000, Emmett and MPS, that's the company, Montana Pool Service, have built over 30 skate parks for Montana's rural and native communities. And they got 2 more coming. So here's a quote from Emmett himself. Thanks to MPS, there's a new generation of rippers out there creating their own scene and style, an opportunity to express themselves in a unique way that would otherwise not be possible. Feel good story, folks. And I will be on the road, by the way. January 28th, I will be in Tucson, Arizona. Get your tickets now. Don't wait, Tucson. I can't wait to see you. That's a stand-up show and the premiere screening of my short film, Loner. I made a short film. I'm excited for the world to see it. Come check it out where it all begins in Tucson on January 28th. February 10th, April 14th, and May 12th, I'll be in Los Angeles, California at the Glendale Room, working on my 2023 hour, and there will be more dates coming up soon. RonPlacone.com for all information and tickets. And this is Ron Placone for Status Coup, signing out.